May I first of all bring greetings from the Church of England.
Pressure has been building on the Bishop of Liverpool since Channel 4 News reported he'd sexually harassed one woman, a bishop, and sexually assaulted another. The controversy has plunged the Church of England into renewed crisis. Today, John Perumbalath announced he'd be retiring, saying continuing in post would be a distraction.
All religions have a concern for humanity.
He has consistently denied wrongdoing and said this was not a resignation occasioned by fault or by any admission of liability. He was interviewed under caution by police over the sexual assault claims, but they took no further action because of lack of evidence. His resignation was welcomed.
I think that he has completely done the right thing, especially given that senior clergy in his diocese yesterday said that his position wasn't tenable at the moment. So his retiring, I think, is the best way forward for the diocese and for the Church of England.
In a statement, Bishop John hit out at what he called a rush to judgment and a trial by media, saying he was retiring for his own well-being, his family and the best interests of the diocese.
It speaks to my very soul.
Today, the Bishop of Warrington, Bev Mason, revealed that she was the female clergywoman who'd accused Bishop John of sexual harassment. We understand that after she complained, the Archbishop of York arranged for her to go on study leave for nearly a year and a half, while the man she alleges harassed her continued in his job until today. In a statement, she said, "A bishop cannot be above the law. A bishop cannot be dealt differently from a priest. If anything, a bishop must be held to greater scrutiny. This is a biblical imperative." But the Bishop of Liverpool's retirement is by no means the end of the matter. Tonight, we reveal new and disturbing allegations about how he was appointed in the first place. Allegations which threaten to engulf the Archbishop of York, the man currently leading the church. We have been passed an account written by someone who sat on the Crown Nominations Committee, which met in secret at Bishopthorpe Palace in York on June the 21st and 22nd, 2022, to discuss John Perumbalath's appointment. The account alleges the Archbishop of York bullied other members to change their vote, despite safeguarding concerns about Bishop John.
Stephen Cottrell urged members to keep him in the process. Stephen Croft agreed.
It was suggested that the diocesan safeguarding team would provide support to the bishop, but the committee member told us,
"I was shocked by this attitude to safeguarding, effectively that a candidate identified as a safeguarding risk is acceptable because Stephen Cottrell says so."
It's claimed voting was 9 votes in favour of John Perumbalath and 5 against, short of the 2/3 majority needed. For that, at least 10 votes were needed in favour. Our source said the Archbishop of York then stepped in.
Stephen Cottrell decided to ask Liverpool CNC to vote a second time, but the result was 9-5 again. Another committee member, who was not a representative of the diocese, then suggested a third vote. This proposal was supported by Stephen Cottrell and Stephen Croft. I was shocked by this proposal that appeared to be bullying tactics to get a result. Result of the third vote was 10-4.
The committee members said they'd been told someone else on the committee had changed her mind, overcoming her safeguarding concerns because of the guidance given by the Archbishop of York and the Bishop of Oxford. Our source came up with this damning analysis.
This appeared to me as evidence of coercion by Stephen Cottrell and Stephen Croft.
I think when a lot of pressure is put on individual committee members in order to overturn decisions that they may have already made within a process, that is fundamentally morally difficult. And if that has been the case, that is completely coercive behaviour.
I was concerned that I'd witnessed bullying of 2 female elected representatives of the diocese. I was very concerned but did not know which way to turn.
After the formal meeting had ended, our source on the committee noticed another member speaking with Archbishop Stephen. She appeared agitated.
It shows that it's completely cavalier. He's not following proper procedure. If there's a safeguarding issue which has been raised in relation to a candidate for bishops, they should not be discussed. It was quite obvious in this case, according to the report, that Stephen just simply overruled that. That is someone who is out to use his own authority at the expense of good governance, at the expense of safeguarding, at the expense of people's lives.
Tonight, the Church of England told us the Archbishop of York categorically rejects any suggestion of coercion or bullying and says multiple voting rounds is entirely normal. He says the National Safeguarding Team found no concerns about John Perumbalath's operational safeguarding experience, but recommended some development work. Bishop Stephen Croft also refutes the suggestion that he or anyone coerced or bullied other members of the committee. Archbishop Stephen's tenure already hung by a thread after he apologised for failing to deal with previous abuse claims adequately. Tonight, his future is in renewed doubt, and with it the future of an institution woven into the fabric of our nation.
Well, joining me now is the Archdeacon of Liverpool, the Venerable Miranda Threlfall-Holmes. Archdeacon Miranda, what does it say about the Archbishop of York's judgment that he's supported the Bishop of Liverpool for almost 2 years since he first learned of these allegations?
I don't think I can really answer that question, because obviously when there are concerns like this raised, quite properly they're not dealt with within the diocese itself. They're dealt with outside of the diocese to avoid any appearance of a conflict of interest. And so I've not been party to those discussions.
Yeah, but the point is that the Archbishop of York has apparently been content for the Bishop of Liverpool to remain in post until we exposed these allegations just 2 days ago, and then suddenly the Bishop of Liverpool retires. What does that say about the judgment of the man leading the church?
Well, as I say, I really don't know what's been going on, but certainly what we've all said from the Diocese of Liverpool is that we want to make sure that these allegations are properly investigated. That does need to happen.
Well, you do know what was going on the committee, because you were on that committee that oversaw the appointment of Bishop John, the promotion of Bishop John. Did you feel bullied by the Archbishop of York on that committee?
I didn't. I mean, we all, when we go on to one of the CNCs, have to swear a solemn oath that we won't talk about any of the detail of what went on. So I'm afraid I can't go into any great detail, but I can say I did not personally feel bullied or coerced.
But it is extraordinary, isn't it, that someone has felt so angered by what they say went on that committee that they've given us a detailed written account. That says something, doesn't it, really?
It is really concerning, and I know that there's been a review of the way that Crown nomination commissions are being run, and I gather there's a report coming to General Synod in a couple of weeks' time suggesting some changes to the way they're run.
Well, you were one of the people who called for the Bishop of Liverpool to go yesterday. You wrote that very powerful letter about his position. Why did you feel moved to do that?
We've been talking within the diocese since you broke these stories, and what we've kept hearing from people, from clergy, from staff in the diocesan offices, from members of our congregations, was a real sense of if these allegations or allegations like this came up in any normal line of work, the normal, natural thing to do would be for the person involved to step back while they were investigated. And it seemed to them, and it seems to us, that would be the correct thing to happen in this case.
Well, it's extraordinary, isn't it, that the bishop who complained about Bishop John, we now know that's Bev Mason. We've known that for a few days, but she's identified herself today. She's one of your colleagues, and she ended up going on study leave for nearly 18 months, while the man she accused has remained in post until today. I mean, is that acceptable?
It seems very strange, and I think I don't feel I can speak for Bishop Bev in what's gone on there. Obviously, her statement is a very powerful statement, and I think everyone feels that situation. But it was quite clear from what she said to members of the diocese that she didn't want this kind of exposure to happen. So I don't feel comfortable talking for her.
Mm. But, you know, many senior people were told about these complaints about Bishop John, and yet no action was taken until it was exposed by the media. What does that say about the attitude of the church to victims of abuse or alleged victims of abuse?
It is really concerning, isn't it? And I think we all really feel the weight of that in Liverpool today. We know that things need to change in the way that the church is organising safeguarding. Over the last year, I've been part of a group looking at Professor Jay's recommendations of how we can build in a much more robust, independent scrutiny and operation of church safeguarding functions. And I really hope that Synod are going to support that overwhelmingly in a couple of weeks' time.
You know, what we've seen with the church is cover-up after cover-up. When is this going to end?
I don't know the answer to that, Kathy, but I'm really hoping that over these last few months, as the weight of reports and recommendations has been gathering, that what we might be seeing here is some sort of turning point in people really realising the way in which we need to really properly approach these things.
I mean, you look really saddened and worn out by it all. Is that reading too much into your expression? What do you feel about all this tonight?
No, I think that's fair. I mean, this is really sad and really distressing for everyone concerned. And, you know, as one of the people left in leadership in the diocese, there's a real weight of holding other people's anger and frustration about this whole process. So I think we're all feeling that tonight.
Archdeacon Miranda Threlfall-Holmes, thank you very much.